Okay, so I think we are live on. We are live on YouTube as well, and we are good to. Okay, so I think we are start. Live on. Okay, so namaste everybody, and what we are going to do today is a very, very interesting topic. Okay, and it's going to be a very interesting topic because though it's not very interesting in terms of nobody wants to die, but at the same time, it is yet going to be very interesting because it's going to give us an opportunity in terms of helping out people, who close, dear ones, or for that matter, understand, how to analyze death. Okay. But before we enter that domain, I want us all, to start a specific mantra, and it's a very, very important mantra. And we are going to do this mantra 12 times for the 12 signs. Okay. And the 12 signs are starting from Aries. See, for those of you who are joining from the first time, let me give you a little bit of a perspective in terms of just before every one of you on YouTube who joined, we did a mantra, simple mantra called 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. Huh? 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. Huh? And this is what we have been doing in the parampara. We first do this bija 3 times, right? And third, we do it 3 times because the third house is the house of Guru Upadesha. Huh? Guru Upadesha means, when you are hearing Jyotish, it's sometimes, our mind could be decluttered, right? With 1,000 things in terms of what is Putin up to, what is happening in Russia, oh, my salary hasn't come. There are 50 things which are going in our mind, right? So the moment we chant the bija Om, so starting from your Lagna, right to your third house, which is the house of Guru Upadesha, it in a way cleans up, the cookies of our mind. So all the past memories or the current memories, which are there as a result of which Facebook and Google can run ads in your mind, right? The moment you clear the cookies means, whatever you have surfed before, those people can't run ads on you, right? Similarly, when we do the Om Bija 3 times, it in a way sort of deletes all the cache and cookies and all those things. So our mind is at least for the next 90 minutes focused on what we are going to do. Okay. After that, we do the simple mantra called Om Gurave Namah. This mantra is a Shadakshari mantra, 6 Akshara mantra. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So this is the mantra, which is there. So there are different Akshara mantras. I have talked about Mantra Shastra a little bit before. You can sort of try and dig it out in my YouTube channel. But importantly, 6th house is the house of our षड् Okay. So this is a 3 Akshara mantra. So the Akshara and the Om Bija all sit here, and then the effect is, all the षड् anything we are thinking bad sort of goes away. Okay. So having done that, before we even discuss the concept of the chart, we want to do another mantra, which is from the Mahanarayana Upanishad. And we need to do this to ensure that, we are safe and sound. Because we are going into a domain, which is less traveled by, less people know about it. Okay. So before we travel that, we want to do our namaskar, keep our purity, and, say, be friendly to Rudra and then tell him that, please, we are learning this from an academic perspective, but, keep us safe. Okay. So mantra is written here, you all should repeat it, wherever you are, even if you are seeing a recording or in future, if you sort of get hold of this recording from somewhere, I want you all to sort of do this mantra, before I have given it in English, I've given it in in Hindi, Sanskrit, whatever you call it. Okay. The mantra is Namo Rudraya Vishnave Mrityurme-Pahi. 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 Namo Rudraya. Vishnu, Vishnu, Vishnu. So, welcome everybody, and namaste everybody who is new to this topic. You know, it's going to be quite interesting, right? Why quite interesting? Because most of us aren't even aware about namaste. Can we not keep chatting? You know, because just to say namaste again, you know, that it will keep popping up. Okay, so let's focus on the topic. You know, everything else in the end, you can say hi, hello, or you have to come a little bit advance in time, right? So thank you all. So we can focus on the topic, you know, so I request you all to hold on to your questions, everything else, and, you know, so that those meeting controls don't keep popping up. Okay, I've already hidden it now. But we are going now into a very, very domain topic. Now, when I was thinking about this topic long back, when I was very close to my grandfather. Okay, and my grandfather used to tell me one thing, you know, that and I'm originally from Somnath in Gujarat. So my grandfather used to always tell me that, you know, Kaartik, you know, the real karmas or the real strength of how you have led your life is seen from the funeral. Okay. Or, you know, in Gujarati, he used to say, okay, you know, ultimately, tamari, you know, jyare antim yatra hoy, you know, that will define, you know, what sort of good karmas you have done. You know, if you have done good karmas, it will rain, and, you know, there will be sea of people, you know, in your funeral, in spite of anything trying to stop them. So I used to always think, you know, obviously I was very young at that time, you know, but it was very well noted in my system. And then one fine day, the Rudra had to strike, you know, or God had to come to take him. And it started raining, you know, so he had a natural death, and it started raining, and it was in our village. And, you know, like the complete village outside our house, and, you know, outside our villa rather, you know, sea of people, unimaginable, you know, and you know, in today's time, you know, probably it would be very tough to even imagine, you know, that sort of a crowd. And throughout, till his funeral and everything, you know, it was like amazing. People were doing mantras. He was a deep Vishnu worshipper. You know, he used to do his Vishnu Sahasranam. He used to actually teach Vishnu Sahasranam in a place called 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, you know, even in Mumbai later on when he would come there, you know. So he was very devout Vishnu worshipper, and Om Namo Bhagavate Vāsudevāya was something on his lips. So when I started learning Jyotish, just before that, the seed was obviously there. That, hey, listen, you know, we have our birth chart, right? But, you know, birth chart wouldn't have the karmas of how we have lived, right? So what are the charts that we are talking about? So how do we see that? And if we can't see the karmas of how we have lived, then how is Vedic astrology logical? So for me, as a typical engineer, you know, I've done my engineering. So I had a very engineering mindset that, hey, give me a logic to it. Give me a formula to it. You know, tell me how it works. You know, that how, when, why, you know, those things are very important for me. So when I first heard of this topic, I was like, wow, you know, Jyotish is so logical. That's why it is miles ahead than so many other sort of breeds or branches of astrology, because it is so logical. It has a logical reasoning for almost everything. right? So primarily, what are the charts that we are looking at? The first is called as our adhana. Now, this is a chart again which people don't know about. So we are all born, right? And then after that, we get our Lagna chart. This was when we were born, right? But were we born on the day? Like, for example, I was born as per English date on 3rd of May. But was I actually born on 3rd of May? Because the birth, technically, if you look even scientifically, has to be the time when the egg was fertilized, right? So there has to be a date and a time when my parents decided to, sort of have the union, and that union was successful, and the soul was activated in a way, right? So there is a chart. Jyotish has a chart, and you can always roughly, or not roughly, but 100%, it is always the 7th from your Janma Lagna. Okay, so let's say I am Aries ascendant. So my adhana has to be on Libra, which is 100%. There's no two ways about it. There's no male and female. That's why if you see Maharishi Parashara and Jaimini always says that, always look which is the stronger between Lagna and 7th house. In fact, there are dashas like Narayan Dasha, etc., where we always look at Lagna in the 7th house to understand the progression of the dasha. Right? So, what are we saying? That sometimes, especially for women, we always say that 7th house is the natural svabhava. Why? Because they are, by default, they are very emotional creature. They are governed by Chandra. But typically we have this, right? So this was a chart which, if you are a beginner or, recently into Jyotish, might not know of, that there is a chart which we call it the conception chart, which is such an important chart. After that, we are born. And then, based on karma. So this Adhana Chakra actually remedies, very few people know that actually remedies have to be done on this also. Because this has a overall amalgamation of karma. Later on, Lagna is always, what we agree. It was like, okay, let's say you have a debt of 8 million and you go to the bank and do some restructuring and say that, hey, listen, I can only pay 2 million and, 6 million, take care of it. Later on, I'll pay. Or there'll be some restructuring. So restructuring means the rest of it is going into the next birth. Okay. So at times we can say just from the Lagna that, hey, listen, moksha is 100% not coming because there is a lot of debts. Okay. The only point then is, how much of this 2 million have we covered to understand how many births we'll get. Interesting, right? And then once we are born, a lot of people might say that, hey, listen, I'm 20 years old or 25 years old, I'm not getting married, So how do I see why they are not getting married at an age of 30, 35, 40, or the relationships are not there, financial issues are there. So there are some karmas which we are doing from the time we are born, to the current stage, right? Which we see in a chart called Prashna. Prashna is the chart of this time. Okay. Then there are also yearly karmas which we see, which we call it as Tithi Pravesh, which we did last time. So all these things are there. And finally, one day, there will be a death by various circumstances, which we'll talk about it, and all these karmas, there will be an amalgamation. And the juice of those karmas, which will be seen in a chart called Punya Chakra. Okay. So this becomes very, very important, this Punya Chakra chart, because it is going to show, okay, bhaiya, now that, we have had this amount of karma, are we even getting moksha? Or are our karmas at least good enough to be born as a human being? Or our karmas are so bad that, we will be, going into the talas or the narkas? Or our karmas are so good that, we are getting an upgrade? So in a way, in today's time, if we can say is, based on all these karmas, we'll get some air miles. Based on that air miles, the team of Brahma will see, oh, you are Emirates Blue Club or Silver Club or Platinum Club. And they'll say, oh my goodness, sir, you have got an upgrade. You are upgraded to business class. You are upgraded to first class. Oh, sir, you are our luxury customer, sir. You are a very, very good customer of ours. You have lived your life fantastically. We'll send you a Mercedes to pick you up. What do you mean by Mercedes to pick up? Some souls have God himself come and take the soul. The Rudras don't come. Yama doesn't come. Mahadev or Vishnu, depending on whom you are worshipping. Ma Durga says that no, I will come to, it's like a 𝗪𝗵𝗁𝗍 service which we have in Dubai, where at the airport, there is somebody standing with placard, and then they will take you out of the immigration, everything very fast. Because they say that, hey, listen, you are our premium customer. I'll take care of you. You just have to come with us. So in today's time, we have to sit back and at some point, think after the class that, hey, how many air miles do we have? Do we have enough even to have an economy class ticket or what is going to happen? Or are we going to be stranded? Like that film, the guy who got stranded in the airport for good many years because somehow his country became defunct and his passport was not valid, etc. And then he is hovering around in the airport. So will we become a ghost? Yes, that can also be seen in the Punya Chakra. So it's a very interesting topic for those of you who would be interested, hang on. For those of you who think that, no, this is not what they were looking for, can quietly leave as well. So we are going to do this in two parts. The first part is going to be the understanding, the logical part. Then the second part will be the application part. Okay. So with this, let us start. Vishnu, 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 Namah Shivaya. Okay. So first and foremost, we are going to understand the concept of death. That what is death? Right? People talk about death in colloquial terms many times, right? Okay. So the question is, do Jadatma die? What do you mean by Jadatma? Jadatma is a glass. This is a silver glass, but let's say if this was a glass, which can be broken, of glass. So the thing is, do they die? So as a Jadatma or a mountain, does a mountain die? So the answer is that they don't die, but they change form. And if they change form, let's say the glass is broken, right? Let's say I have given you glasses. This glass is broken. In an accident, this got broken. So can we use this glass again? Or the use of the glass was to see. But since it's broken, you can't see from that glass, right? So the functionality is gone from this Jadatma. So in a way, they die, but not in the human form. They cease to exist in the form in which they are going to be, right? So Jadatma per se, change form, but because they don't have a soul, they don't have the logical death as human beings have. So it is Jada Atma. Okay. And Jadatma is always recognized by the physical attributes. Okay. Like a beautiful lamp I have. Huh? Let's say I was playing something cricket or playing with my squash ball, and if lamp is hit and if it falls down and it's broken, the lamp cannot give the light because it's broken, I'll have to buy a new lamp. So you have to be very clear when people give sometimes, this in the forums and all, I learn and then I listen to these things and I laugh where people are saying that, oh, my glass died today and this happened and I loved my pot so much, he died today, all those things. So we have to be very careful that whatever they are saying, it basically means that that physical attribute of that lamp is gone. Huh? Jadatma dies when the physical feature that defines them cease to exist. So you have to remember this about the Jadatma. Now, what about the Jivatma? What is the concept of a person dying? Jivatma is a person, right? So what happens in their death? Huh? The destruction of body. So there are different types of death. Huh? Sometimes, okay, in an accident, the person was not fated to die, but there was a big accident and, the destruction of body happened, it was irreparable. The person fell by mistake from 30th floor, or there was a helicopter crash, plane crash, the body is destroyed. So there is no place for Atma, right? That is also one type of death. Then there is other thing, which is like a natural thing, where the body is okay, but the Atma lives. So the Atma says that, okay, yeah, enough is enough. Now it's time to move on for me. I've had enough. Now I need to leave. So your body is fine. It can still operate. You have diabetes, you have had couple of surgeries, but you are still okay. But the Atma says that, no, now the time is up. I need to leave. Right? There is also third type of death, which is medically alive. Huh? But the brain is dead. Like in coma. So many people live, right? 20 years in coma, 10 years in coma. Pramod Mahajan, Pramod Bhai was 13 days in coma and then died. So all those things are there. So coma is also like medically you are alive because that graph says, up, down, up, down, up, down. But probably there are some karmas, which is not giving them where as a result of which the Atma has not left. Right? But at the same time, you are not doing any sort of new karmas, but probably going through some previous karmas in the deathbed. But you are not even dead. Right? So why I'm telling you this is because you have to understand that the type of death will be seen in the Punya Chakra. So it is very important for you to understand and bifurcate that, hey, listen, there are different types of death. There are people who are brain dead. Just that meter is showing up, down, up, down, up, down. But basically, the person has stopped doing karmas long back. And he is going through probably some karmas of this life or past life. Yeah. Depending on the pending things, right? So the body, soul, and the mind are the tripod, even while determining the three types of death. One is where the body has gone. Yeah. This is the body. This is the soul. And this is the mind. Right? Brain dead. So now you are seeing death differently. So important, right? When tamas is involved in the death, the body is destroyed. Generally, tamas is associated with malefic planets, Shani, Rahu, and Mangala. So when these planets are involved, generally the body is destroyed. That, oh, poor girl was going, she thought that, oh, she will drive through nice places in Spain and they were driving and, oh my goodness, they had a bad accident. So in those things, there's this malefic planets or tamas is involved. Those are the planets which are coming to take them. Rajasic planets basically are brain dead. What we call it as apamrityu, which is Mercury and Shukra, Rajas planets. Those of you who know a little bit of Jyotish would know differentiation between Tamas and Rajas and Sattva planet. Sattva planet, Atma leaves the body. This is what we call it as natural death. Okay. Where finally, one day you are lying or, you have gone through enough and one day you die very peacefully. In those cases, you will see these planets have a very, very important role to play. Interesting. You all are with me? Now, there is something what I call it as the wear and tear of your body. I've seen here, I've given you a nice picture. We all have an evolution, right? Where right from a seed to a sampling, seed is our adhana. Then we are born, then we become big. And then one day we are going to die also, where we will fall off. Right? So those of you who are new need to know there is something called as wear and tear, right? Each of you who is owning a car or even not owning a car, but you have seen the process of a car, every car has a service history, right? Generally, if it is a Japanese make, then every 5,000 kilometers. If it is an Audi or a Japanese or a German car, then every 15,000 kilometers, you have to do this servicing because every car has got a wear and tear. Every 60,000 or 120,000 kilometers, you have to change your tires. If not, then the car will sort of go through a very, very bad wear and tear and it can sort of fail right in the center of a road. So we have to understand also the planets which are going to be the important planets in your age group. The first natural age, typically, the first 4 years, though, there is a breakup where in just the first year is Chandra and there are different ways. But generally, I would like you to use this as a 𝗙𝗪𝗍 dasha, which is the natural age. So this is the time when, frankly speaking, we have no control. This is purely on our karmic thing. So what you call it as infant death is happening around here, right? The first 4 years. And it is happening due to Chandra. And majorly, this has got a direct impact on our past life karma in a good or bad way, right? Sometimes there are very, very spiritual souls born, who have very little karma left, so they're just born for that thing, kept in an incubator, they have to go through little pain, right? And then, they sort of say that, okay, I'm done and I'm going. Sometimes it's a reverse way also. But generally, this is called apamrityu, not a good thing. But, there are two ways of looking at it. Okay. So first 4 years are our wear and tear, our service center is around Chandra. Because this is the time when we learn our toilet habits, generally basic we have no senses on our mind, so to say, everywhere we go, we start crying because we have done toilet, this, that, then comes little sense. Okay. Our mother then tells us that, hey, listen, if you are going to do toilet, let me know. Okay. Then slowly we start walking. So Mercury is our learning thing. And it is amazing that, Mercury, now this is, our Vedic astrology for, donkey's years, right? And I remember 10 years back, somebody came to me to sell, some encyclopedia, I think the World Book or something like that, 10-15 years back, quite old. And they told me, sir, research shows that, a child's mind is the best between 4 to age of 12, and whatever is taught during this year is something that the brain soaks in and that the subconscious mind takes, blah, 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 blah. And I was here, hey, he is exactly quoting the Naisargika Dasha of Mercury, which is all about learning. And this is what our rishis told us with the power of meditation, where they said that, listen, hey, if you have a child, this age group of 4 to 12 is extremely important, because what you give it to them, at the seed, they will ensure that they become a good citizen and not a pain for others. Their sanskara, their concept of religion, their concept of spirituality is so strong that they understand, how to live and let live. So this is a very, very important age group. In that, if they get a guru or they are in a place where they are constantly taught wrong things, the future is what we know will happen. But the service center is Mercury, all about learning, all about education, all about constantly being a good student, right? So if you listen or if you think calmly, kids are almost like monkeys during those times. Whatever you teach them, say tata, tata, then child will keep saying tata, tata, like a parrot, like the Vahana of Matangi. So very important. All of you who have a child in this age group or have just had a child, focus on this age group. Then comes Mangal. Mangal is the time for rebellion, 12 to 20. That's the time muscles start coming. That's the time body starts growing. They become a little bit of a rebel. That anger and attitude starts coming. Hey mom, leave me alone. I'll handle it. Don't worry. So all those Mangal abilities about fighting, about rebellion, about all those positive and negative, anger, all those things start coming up. So when we are in this age group, this Mangal is important, and you need to now understand all these things from a health perspective. Shukra is very important for this age group. Jupiter, is this peak season, which is the best for profession. If you calmly think, your profession peaks up during this period. Why? Because you have gone through this. Venus Dasha is all about learning, all about heartbreaks, all about, trying to explore. And once Jupiter comes, this 30 to 50 is when you become a little smart enough. So actually, even in matters of relationship, though 20 to 32 is the time when you start having relationships, which is Venus. But frankly speaking, what relationship is all about, etc., you start understanding only after 32. Why? Because this is a maturity. This is your bodily needs, right? And this is your intellectual need. So once your relationship is going beyond this bodily need to an intellectual need, is when you actually feel that, hey, listen, this partner is worth my time. Otherwise, there comes a time when you feel that, hey, intellectually we are very different, right? But it is very important. Generally, you will see that this is the time also after 20 to 50 is the time when the highest diabetes starts coming up. Surya is 50 to 70. This is a time when actually you rule. So this is a time when you grow in your profession. You peak, you understand, you go places, you are able to run, you are still young. This is purely you are making money from your experience. But this is also from a dasha perspective of what the topic that we are understanding is when the body starts, sort of deteriorating. This after 50, your problems start coming. Why? Because Surya gets debilitated in Tula, which is the 7th house, which is Maraka. And then after 70 comes Shani. So after 70, if you live, then there is a high chance, you will get a disease. And some disease will take you. And if you have some blessings, then in spite of disease, ultimately your soul will live. Okay. But it is good to live this life. Because why? Because you have gone through all the karmas. This all 𝗙𝗪𝗍 dasha are actually showing you the karmas that you have to go through. That's why you want to live longer. You want to stay healthy, live longer. So as much as karmas you can get rid of, based on the target that you have accepted, right? As per as your appointment letter with the HR team of Brahma, you want to let go of all these karmas, yaar, khatam karo. So you have to be very, very careful. Pick up this planet. Why I'm telling you this? Because we will not be alive to do our Tithi Pravesh. Our Nakshatra Pravesh. Or is it our Punya Chakra, right? So we'll not be alive for our Punya Chakra. Somebody sent me an email today. I forgot the name. And they said that, how can I read my Punya Chakra? The thing is, if you are going to read your Punya Chakra, it's not good news because you are still hovering around. When I started with the concept that, hey, listen, your funeral is going to tell you the type of karmas you have had, it also means that your punya is going to tell you if your son, daughter, your student or somebody is going to be kind enough to go to an astrologer and say that, hey, listen, my mother is no more, my brother is no more, my aunt is no more, my friend is no more. This is his time. Hey, listen, can you please help this soul? How is he keeping? What can I do for him? What are the remedies I can do for him? See, you are under a direct rina. You are under a direct debt from your forefathers because your forefathers ensured that your father was born. Your father ensured that you were born. So in a way, doing the Shraddha Paksha and doing the last rites is your responsibility or primary responsibility, where once in a year you have to tell them thank you. Right? When does that happen? That happens in a Paksha called a Shraddha Paksha, where you have got different tithis, right from Pratipada right up to Amavasya. So for your near and dear ones, you have to do Shraddha on those specific tithis. So if somebody is born on a Dashami, so during the Shraddha, on that Dashami Tithi is when you have to do the Shraddha. Or if you don't remember, and then you have to do one Shraddha on the final day, which is the Amavasya, which is for Sarva Pitri. Please start doing those remedies and see how light you feel. Because the blessings of the Pitris is something that will help you to even take care of oceans. You can travel with the blessings of the Pitris. Because they are the one who are in the lunar mansion where Chandra is. So they are going to be there and blessing you with a very strong mind, provided once a year at least you take care of them. Okay. Now, what are the basics of death? Okay. Here I am telling you some of the parampara secrets. Now, this might be a little tough for those who are extremely new or very new to the topic, but it would be interesting for them to know that, hey, listen, they have predefined rules. Okay. Now, the first rule is determine the stronger between the Arudha Lagna and the 7th from it. Okay. Which is the stronger between AL and 7th. Saturn shall transit the trine. So Saturn's transit. So here what we are talking about. Let's say somebody has got Arudha Lagna in Aries. So Saturn has to transit either Aries, Leo, or Dhanu. So whenever it is in trines to Arudha Lagna or the 7th from it, see, you have to, it can't be both, because it will not be 6 signs. Let's say there are 3 planets over here. Okay. Then we will see trines from Libra. So then it will be Gemini, then it will be Aquarius, and Saturn transiting Libra. So you have to be very smart in asserting, which is the stronger between the Arudha and 7th from it. Okay. So we get in general that 2.5 year, which is broadly very tough for you. Okay. Then there is something called as 𝗪𝗂𝗶𝗏, A8. See the stronger between A8 or the 7th house. There is something called as 𝗪𝗂𝗶𝗏. The senior students would know. And then you see the sun's transit, it has to be in trines to that A8. So which are the two players? AL and A8. From AL we see Saturn's transit. From A8 we see sun's transit. Okay. And finally determine the worst associated with the 5th lord or bhava. You have to see the malefic. Okay. For example, let's say 5th lord is Surya. And Surya is, let's say, debilitated in Tula. So Surya is a very, very malefic planet. And which tithi Surya rules? Pratipada and Navami. So generally we tend to look at the darker tithi. So we can pick up Navami. So when Saturn is transiting the Arudha Lagna and the 5th from it, means in trines, Surya is also in trines. And these two tithis, generally the Navami tithi, the darker tithi is what we look for, is something which can trigger the death. Determine the weaker between Arudha Lagna and the 7th from AL. Okay. And the trines from it will be the Lagna at the time of death. So this is also bullseye. So from Arudha Lagna and the trines, so if this is the case, then the death Lagna can be either Aries, Leo, or Dhanu. Very interesting, huh? We'll do some cases, for you to understand. Now, what are the other rules? Jupiter or Venus, 3rd or 5th from Arudha Lagna, has power to alter death. Very interesting. Why? Because they are Sattva planets. And they are the two gurus, Dvi Guru. This is the Venus is the Danava Guru. And this is Deva Guru, Brihaspati. These two planets in the 3rd or 5th from Arudha Lagna has the power to alter death. So many people, not so many people, but some people we hear, right? That, oh, they died. And like Sai Baba also, Shirdi Sai Baba, everyone must have heard the story. That he died and, Sai Baba had said that, listen, keep my body for 3 days or 5 days, something like that. And he says that, wait for it, I'll go back, my guru. And if he doesn't allow me, then I'll come back. So it happened actually, where Shirdi Sai Baba left the body, and later on, he went up, his guru said that, no, you have more karma spending, go back. And after 2-3 days, he came back into the body and was alive. There are many other cases like that. Very serious cases where doctor has announced that this person is dead. The ECG and all those machines have shown that there is no pulse rate. And after 1 hour, 2 hours, suddenly, the person is okay. So these are the people who can fight the death, because it is the power of Mrityunjaya Bija. Power of Guru. Guru is Jiva, Brihaspati. So these are the two, Jiva and the Jum Bija of Shukra, can give you power to bounce back even from the clutches of death. When the Dvi Gurus are involved, everyone knows you leave. So generally when the two Gurus are involved, generally when Jupiter or Venus is associated with 3rd from Arudha Lagna, you also know when you will die. Other people also know when you die. Jupiter is when you want to leave. Venus is you want to die. You want to die sometimes can be suicidal. When you want to live is spiritual. You have to be very careful. Normal death, remember this. Normal death is always seen third from Arudha Lagna. Very, 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 very important. Spiritual death, third from Atma Karaka. So now I'm giving you a different connotation. A lot of spiritual people die, right? Swami Vivekananda, Shankaracharya, this all people, almost what we call it as 𝗀𝗏 What is 𝗀𝗏? That, they decide in a way that, listen, I've lived enough. In 36 years, I've done a lot of work. I've written all the scriptures. Now my work is done, Shiva. Call me. So Mahadev says that, okay, fair enough. I'm coming down, wait on, I'll come. So those people have death not from Arudha Lagna. They are from the Atma Karaka. The soul has decided that I have contributed enough. I have done enough. Mahadev, whatever you told me, I have done enough. I've completed all those things. I have given all the knowledge. Now call me back. I want to stay with you. So those are very spiritual deaths. Normal people like you and me, we should not feel we are some special people. Please, little bit of Jyotish learning. Don't start thinking that you have become God. The problem with Jyotish and astrologers is that they start believing they are God. Or at least start acting they are God. Maybe they know they are not God. But, don't be under that illusion. Stay like normal people. You are just good consultants. You are good students. Stay very grounded, calmly. We'll all 99.99% die because of third from Arudha Lagna. Very few amongst us would be very lucky where, Mahadev decides that, hey, listen, you tell me, when do you want to go? I'll come and receive you. That 𝗪𝗶𝗁𝗏 service, lounge service we have talked about, those are spiritual people, very spiritual people. I remember, I was with somebody who was taking care of Mari Pramukh Swami Maharaj. Those of you who know Swaminarayan sect, he used to take off, basically they are all Vishnu worshippers, but a form of Vishnu which they call as Swaminarayan Bhagwan. So they say that, one day, and this is a known fact, recorded fact, that Pramukh Swami was kept in isolation, and nobody could meet him. And one day, they saw that Pramukh Swami Maharaj is in his room, but there is some noise which is coming, where he is talking to somebody. And he was, because of COVID and all, he was kept in a very nice isolation, so there is no problem, no more complication. He's talking as if, God has come to talk. Talking to him, they are discussing everything. They all can hear and they are amazed that, hey, listen, there's nobody inside. And Pramukh Swami Maharaj was perfectly fine in terms of, his mental abilities, no problem at all. And next day he leaves. So what I'm trying to say is such spiritual people, God decides that, hey, listen, we'll come. Okay. Now, 8th from Lagna, Arudha Lagna are seen where you die. Okay. Remember all these things. We'll do some charts. Where you die is seen 8th from Lagna or Arudha Lagna, depending. So we have to counter check that. Generally, we also look from Lagna. Between the stronger among the two, generally we can decide. Okay. So we have to ascertain how is third from Arudha Lagna. For normal people, focus on third from Arudha Lagna. What happens after the death is 5th house. Now, it is not surprising for us who believe in Jyotish, but Nostradamus had given a very, very famous prediction. That 50 years from my death, people will remove me from my grave and drink wine from my skull. A stray bullet will hit my skull and then kill the person who dug my grave. This was a thing that he did based on his 5th house, and this turned out to be true 100%. Wow, right? He told this 50 years also. Maybe something based on 𝗪𝗁𝗍𝗁𝗍, we don't know what dasha he used. But these are some fantastic predictions. And these are based on very clear principles laid out by our rishis. Okay. So let us start with our first chart of Princess Diana. Okay. So we have learned some simple rules. Okay. We have to see this something called as Arudha Lagna. Arudha Lagna is here. What were we looking at? Circumstances of death? Third from Arudha Lagna. Okay. There we have a planet called Ketu. Okay. Now always remember, when Ketu is there, it can be death due to heights. Also due to speed. And at times due to your own mistake. Generally, we say it's your own mistake. And if you are a politician or have a political background, it can also mean Secret Service. Why? Because Ketu rules Secret Service. And there are a lot of rumors, or a lot of people say that, hey, listen, the Secret Service had to do it because, that there's too much at stake. I don't want to talk more about it in a open session, but you all can understand what I mean to talk about. So let us understand. Ketu is third from Arudha Lagna. It is in a sign called Aquarius. Aquarius is a very dark sign. So she died in a tunnel. Which is a dark tunnel. She was in the tunnel and somehow, there were paparazzi which were following her, and then there is a big rail, where there was an accident, and all those things happened. Okay. So Ketu is an accident. Okay. And she died or eliminated. I have used this word also. I'll leave that to you. Now, what is 8th from Lagna? This is Lagna. 8th from Lagna is Aries. This is a movable sign. Right? What is 8th from Arudha Lagna? 8th from Arudha Lagna is Cancer, which is again movable sign. Okay. And she was in a car which was moving very, very fast. Okay. What about 8th from Arudha Lagna? 8th from Arudha Lagna is again Chara Rashi. What about 8th from Atmakaraka? 8th from Atmakaraka. Atmakaraka is Chandra. Where is Chandra? Chandra is here. Okay. 8th from there is, we have this very terrible yoga. Okay. And it is in the 12th house of foreign. And the Lord is in a movable sign. Lord is in a, travel sign with Mercury. But this is something, which is not talking good about it. This can be an assassination. Okay, by some Secret Service, and I don't want to talk about more. Is it clear? So most of the things are very clear from her chart itself. And this proves that probably this data is correct. This is how I sort of ensure that whether the events match. Here is the chart of a famous Indian politician called 𝗪𝗏𝗏 Mahajan. Very, very famous. Probably people say that if he would have been alive, it would have been tough for 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏 Modi to rise. Because he was very, very dynamic and many other qualities as well. So let us look at his Arudha Lagna. Arudha Lagna has Chandra. Very, very liked also. A lot of other qualities were there. Digbala of Mercury also there. Very good speaker also, definitely. But is there any planet which is third from Arudha Lagna? Oh, we have Mangal in a sign called Scorpio. Okay. Now, Scorpio is a very secretive sign. And Mangal means again Dushta Marana, right? Violent death. And what is the Karaka for Mangal? Like we saw Karaka for Ketu also, right? Secret Service. Mangal is the Karaka for brother. So his elder brother, one fine day just came to his apartment and shot him. 3 or 4 rounds. I don't recollect exactly. And he was killed in his house. And this brother just went to the police station and surrendered himself and said that, listen, I have killed my brother. I can't tell anything more than that, but I accept I have killed and I am ready to surrender. But because it is in Scorpio sign, there are many other secrets which people say was there, why he just couldn't tolerate. That, hey, listen, this is not right and what he is doing is not right. Okay. Now, so third from Arudha Lagna, this is a fixed sign. So fixed sign is something where he died in his home. He was sitting, having his morning tea, reading newspaper when his brother just came and shot him. Okay. What is the 8th from Arudha Lagna? 8th from Arudha Lagna is Aries, which is movable. But where is the Lord? Lord is in a fixed sign. Okay. What about his Atmakaraka? Atmakaraka is Mercury. 8th from Atmakaraka, Lord Mangal, again in a fixed sign. Okay. So he was killed in his home in a very secretive way, because the reasons were always secretive. Later on, his brother also died, quite a mysterious death, a lot of things around that as well. So this also works that, hey, listen, this was a death, which was causing because of the anger of Mangal. That there are certain boundaries that you don't cross. And if you cross, then you are violating that Mangal. Okay. Now let us look at this interesting chart of Imran Khan. He is alive, very much alive. But what I mean to say, let's look at his Arudha Lagna. Do we have any planets which are there? We have Venus, which is third from Arudha Lagna, very strong in Libra. A lot of people prefer this chart also. So he has got Shukra, which is third from Arudha Lagna. Right. Now, what does Shukra third from Arudha Lagna mean? And it is very strong. So Shukra, if you remember, it's a benefic planet, right? The Dvigurus are there, means he can alter death. Right? He has the power of Mrityunjaya. So for sure, this guy is very, very healthy. Definitely even at his age, whatever he is, 70, 75, he's extremely fit. Okay. And has he come out of a close shave of death? The fact of the matter is almost every day he is fighting death. He has been shot, bullets, which sort of went to his feet, and, there are other attempts, the constant attempt to sort of eliminate him, this, that, So there are two ways of it. Yes, there are attacks on death. Venus is also saying that we said that, whenever benefic planets are third from Arudha Lagna, you can preempt death. Right? So the problem is this is so strong that he preempts death almost every day. So that is a little bit of a politics also into it. So almost every day he says that today I'll be killed, tomorrow I'll be killed. At times it could be disease. What we call it as schizophrenia, or when there is a famous Indian actress called 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏. She had this disease where she thought that, oh, Amitabh Bachchan will kill me, or Mahesh Bhatt will kill me, or people are going to kill me. And then she always later on died with that mindset that people will kill me. Per se, it is showing that, hey, this will be natural death. Natural death means the soul will leave. But because this is also a benefic planet, where he is always trying to preempt, because he knows it's a matter of time before I die. So it's just a combination of both. So who can save him? Mangal can save him, because Mangal is the planet which is giving him Raj Yoga. Okay, in his Lagna. This is his Raj Yoga giving planet. Okay, problem is there is a parivartana between this Jupiter and Mars. Right? So Mars is the army. So if you see his career, throughout, army has helped him. He has been an army's guy, 𝗪𝗂𝗍𝗪𝗏𝗍. Suddenly, he became he started feeling very smart. Okay. So the moment he started feeling smart, army said that, hey, listen, we will join Chandra. What is Chandra? Chandra is neutral. Right? 𝗪𝗏𝗍𝗪𝗏𝗍 कुटुम्बकम्. The whole world is my family. Everybody is my family. So army started talking the language of Chandra. That, hey, we are neutral. For us, listen, if there is a thing in the legislation against you, you fight. We are not going to help you like before to get the MLAs and all those things. So they became neutral. So Imran started cursing them. Neutral janwar hote, oi bajwa, oi this, oi that. So he has also Mercury Atmakaraka, right? So he just doesn't know when to stop. So, but the parivartana then happened. The moment Mangal went there, Jupiter came over. What is Jupiter? Jupiter is judiciary. Huh? So all the judges or the top judge, Umarati Bandial and all those guys, they started giving judgments purely taking care of him. He can't be arrested. If he is arrested, he will be called. The judge will send him a Mercedes to come, everything. And why did this Mangal go away? Because he started feeling he is God. Huh? Judiciary started saying that, oh, he is Sadiq and Amin, and he is so this, who is so righteous. Oh, I want to become Riyasat-e-Madina, this, that, all those things. So there is a big change which is happening. So if you see what's happening in Pakistan, or if what's happening with Imran Khan currently, is the fight between Jupiter and Mangal. The moment Mangal left his Lagna, where his Pranapada was there, ultimately his lifeline went away. Judiciary will fight, but till what time? Because the moment the change happens, Mangal and Chandra, together, is called as Rudra Yoga. This Rudra is activated. So the moment this Rudra is activated, this guy is getting panicky that, hey, listen, I think they will eliminate me. They will kill me in the jail. They will take me. They will do this. They will do that. Though he has got the Mrityunjay Bija, so he has got many lives for that matter. And to be very frank, being a keen observer of Pakistan for years, Imran Khan has actually got a very, very olive branch from the army. Anybody else who would speak so much of even 50% of what Imran has said would have been, got a visa by now. But it is this Venus which is his protection. Who is Venus? Venus is his marriage. So as much as people might sort of make fun of his wife or whatever it is, but definitely she is doing something as a result of which this guy is alive. So are you understanding? I also gave you a chart of a different type of a political guy, who has this sort of a thing. Okay. What is third from his Atmakaraka is Scorpio. So this is an area he can definitely, who is lauded by Scorpio? It is Mangal and Ketu. This Mangal and Ketu combination is what they call it as establishment in Pakistan. Rest I will leave it to you. I've given nice hinters. So sometimes you can also see very, very schizophrenic cases, where there is benefic. For example, sometimes when Chandra is third from Aruda Lagna, person can have suicidal tendencies. I had a case of a client, who had Mangal, Chandra third from Aruda Lagna, and she was wearing a pearl. And I looked at her and I said that, hey, listen, who told you to wear pearl? He said, I met a very, very famous celebrity astrologer and he told me, you should wear a pearl. I said, okay. So tell me one thing, how are you feeling after wearing the pearl? Did you have any suicidal tendencies? So she showed me her this area and she showed me 3 cuts were there. She said, I have attempted 3 murders and today if you would have not met me, I was contemplating that I'll jump from the roof, or I was thinking that I don't know swimming, I'll drown myself. Huh? Chandra is a Jala. So if given a choice, she would have probably taken the Chandra thing rather than jumping from the height. That is a Ketu thing. So I immediately told her, first and foremost, remove this Chandra. Remove this pearl. It is absolutely bad for you. Whoever has given you is a joker. And then you talk. Right? So third from Arudha Lagna has a direct impact, on, so his protection is coming from this Venus. The day his Venus is not there. For example, they announce tomorrow that, he is divorced with his current wife. Now no more. And he's single alone. Again, he'll go through hell again. These are all Raj Jyotish things. How to tell somebody whom to marry, how to tell somebody what to do. These are all things coming. Interesting? Now, why Punya Chakra? Punya means good deeds. Okay? Punya means good deeds and Chakra is the horoscope. Okay? So technically a horoscope which is going to show your good deeds. It is used to find the soul's whereabout after death. So anybody who thought that they want to do your Punya Chakra reading while they are alive, frankly speaking, I would be very afraid, because if you are going to say that, check my Punya Chakra chart, then some ghost is approaching me, And this is generally the horoscope of the death, exact time of death, like birth, right? We are born on a particular day, particular time, particular place. Likewise, we will die finally in some place, some time, all those things, that is noted. And that horoscope is then given to a astrologer. Not Janma Chakra. Punya Chakra experiences the soul after birth. It is Janma Chakra is one which is going to give you the experiences of soul after birth. Prashna is your current stage, something which I explained you before, And Punya Chakra is used to remedy the wandering soul. It's a very, very common concept, right? See, frankly speaking, the amount of wars that have happened, the amount of people that have died, it is very much possible that, in your house, while you're walking around, there are many, many souls which are wandering around. Okay. But some souls just don't harm you. They're just going through that drill. There are some souls which really harm you, So that's the differentiation we are talking about. Yeah. So we are going to, in the end, understand how to handle that. Okay. Now we are going to understand few of the focus houses. Once the chart is in front of you, what are we going to do with the chart? Okay. So the focus houses, the first one is the Lagna. So generally we are going to focus on 1, 6, 7, 8, 10 and 12. Okay. Are going to be the focus house. So what is the ascendant going to be? Depending on what our ascendant. I've just taken Mesha as ascendant just for describing. The first house shows the exact nature of death. So nature of death. You died in an accident, you died, very peaceful death. Oh, like 𝗨𝗏𝗏𝗏 Shastri, you feel that you were poisoned. Not you means you felt that somebody else was poisoned. The death was controversial. You don't know whether the person was raped. Many things can happen. Sometimes things are clear, sometimes things are not clear. But this Punya chart, if we know the time, it makes a lot of sense. If there are malefics or is occupied with Gulika and Mandi, there are some special ascendants or the special grahas which are called as Gulika and Mandi. Then the death to the native can be very painful. If malefics are there, and there is something called as Gulika and Mandi. If they are there, association, or sometimes even trines, then the death was very painful. In addition to the first house, the trines also become important. Why? Because they are the controlling ones, right? So we need to look at the 5th from the Lagna, and we want to look at the 9th from the Lagna. Okay. It should always be checked to ascertain the details of the moment of death. So sometimes, Lagna can be empty, but 5th and 9th can have a say in that. So always look at the trines to ascertain the details of the death. Presence of benefic in Lagna or the trines can indicate peaceful death, such as dying in the sleep or leaving the body in deep meditation. Ideally, we want a benefic in the trines, which would show that, it was a peaceful death. It was like, you had retired, you had shut down the PC, you were in a way ready for it, and there were no major sort of things which were there in your mind to be completed. Your to-do list was all were done, you are fine with it. Been there, done that sort of a thing. Okay. The 6th house. See, 6th house, generally we look for enemies, right? But once you are dead, then typically there are no enemies, right? But these are, not even external enemies, but they are what we call it as your 𝗪𝗔𝗍𝗍. Like in the end, like there are a lot of people I've met, not a lot of people, but 6, 7 of them, and I looked at their father's Punya Chakra, and I asked them in a way that, hey, listen, how was your father? Was he very outgoing, this, that? And they would understand in a way and smile and say that, listen, yes, my father, even at an age of 70, wanted to have his boys trip, and he would go to Bangkok, he would go here, and he has been to Amsterdam, and he wanted. So yeah, Kaartik ji, we do understand that what you are trying to say. And, just after 2 months before he died, he was planning to, go out for a trip. So what I mean to say is the 6th house will also tell you what were the 𝗪𝗔𝗍𝗍. What was it that was strongly in your mind that you want to do? If Venus is the 6th house, then you are planning some, or sex was definitely something which was there in your mind. Huh? If Mangal was there, then there was some anger which was there in your mind. If Rahu was there, then there was some 𝗀𝗲𝗍, greed, something was there that, oh, I'm supposed to get my 50% share from that. Okay, I'll tell my brother, I'll put a case on him. All those things you are, even on the deathbed or even in that age, you are constantly thinking, scheming. Huh? There was some delusion because of Shani, it could be alcohol, also many other things. Ketu is also, mother, we loosely call it intoxication, but there are a lot of other things. Mercury, generally jealousy. So we need to understand that, Jupiter in the 6th is not bad. Huh? It is good. Jupiter in the 6th means you are able to conquer your 𝗪𝗔𝗍𝗍. Very good, in fact. Jupiter in the 6th house is fantastic. You have been able to overcome your 𝗪𝗔𝗍𝗍. That's why it is not part of this initial list. Okay. And this we are talking about in Punya Chakra. Don't confuse with your birth chart. In the birth chart, you will look at it as a house of enemies. 7th house. Now, this I consider as a very, very important house. Huh? It is the Dwara. See, imagine if this is your home, Lagna is your home, your 𝗲. Then the 7th from it is the door. Right? Initially, when we started, I told you that your conception or your adhana is actually the 7th house. So this is the door from where you enter, and this is the door from where you will exit. Okay. So the soul enters through this Dwara. Huh? That's why it is the sunset point. Debility of Surya. This house has an ability to ensure whether there will be rebirth or, what is going to happen. And if there is going to be rebirth, where is it going to be and where are you going to be, which loka, so on and so forth. This becomes very important. Number of the planets in the 7th house will show number of rebirth. So if there is one planet, then there will be one rebirth. If there are 3 planets, then there will be 3 rebirths. So technically, when people say, oh, I've got too many planets in the 7th house, it is not good. Not good. If a planet is in the 7th and 12th houses, then person stays in a loka represented by the 12th house for a time and then reborn. So what happens is this 7th house and 12th house is very important. If there is a planet over there here and a planet over here also, then a person is going to be, going to this loka first, spend some time over there and then be reborn in the 7th house loka. If it is tala, then it is, they will go through the grinding, of the bad karmas for some time, depending on the planet, and then be reborn, into bhuloka or whichever loka, or then we'll get a transfer. Okay. Time of rebirth is from planets in the 7th house and the natural periods. We'll get into this, the application part, we'll get to it. Time of rebirth is basically, understanding which planet is there, understanding the Navamsha progression also. All those things are there. 8th house. 8th house is the reason for the rebirth, because this is something what we call it as Nija dosha. These are sins. For this, you can't say just sorry and go, right? Somebody might have high sexuality, but that person might not rape. So Venus in the 6th house and Venus in the 8th house, for example, is something very different. Moon in the 6th house and Moon in the 8th house is something very different. This is you not being able to control. Here, somebody else pays for you not being able to control. Right? So you have to be very, very careful. It is your dhrida karma, something for which you have to be born. Sins forgiven only if Jupiter aspects the 8th house. So if Jupiter aspects or is in the 8th house, then it is very good. Then your sins are okay. It is like you have done something, excellent. You have those miles in your card whereby you can get an upgrade. Okay. Sins for which you have to pay. So generally this 8th house is something you have to pay. Why? Because it is not something, where you can say sorry. Here you can say sorry and get away. Here the sorry is not okay. You have to pay for it. Okay. 10th house. This is very interesting. This is the house of karma and the native state after death. Very important. See, in Jyotish, though a lot of people focus on the lagna, it is the 10th house which is the strongest kendra. Okay. And there is something 10th house, we call it as Dashamsha. Right? Or Swarga Amsha. So 10th house is your Swarga Loka. That's why the Abhijit Nakshatra is in this house. So this is actually the house of God. That's why Surya gets Digbala. That's why 12 o'clock midday is the highest phase of the sun, or what we call it as Abhijit. So our karma is something which is very important, and through our karma, we can reach God. Through our karma, we can get moksha. If you worked without any fruits in the mind and you are selfless, you will get moksha. Else you will be reborn to complete the work. So both ways, if you do selflessly without karma, no problem. You will 100% get moksha. But if, let's say, you are doing it with a motive, etc., and doing good work also, still you will be rewarded, but probably there would be you have to come back to complete the pending work. If I have promised my guru that, okay, Guruji, I am supposed to do this, I'll do this. and if I pop out in between, then I have to come back to complete that work. Okay. 10th house is a sum total of your karmas. Very important. Okay. So all your karmas are ultimately going to come over in the 10th house. If the 10th Lord is strong, and the 10th house's benefic influence, the native did good work. This is very important. If 10th Lord is strong and the 10th house's benefic influence. Generally, for when we call it about benefic influence, we only look at Graha Drishti. We don't want to look at Rashi Drishti. Huh? We want planets to have a direct impact by Drishti. If 10th Lord is strong with association of Jupiter and with a 12th house Drishti, then moksha is for sure, because your karmas were superb. What are the two conditions? 10th Lord has to be strong and there has to be some association of Jupiter. Maybe 10th Lord is here and Jupiter is here. So Jupiter is also aspecting the 10th Lord and Jupiter will also aspect the 12th house. Then it is very good. Else rebirth chances are high. So ultimately our karma, see, in Hinduism or the Vedic philosophy, we always say, our karmas are most important. Karma yogi. We commonly use this, right? Karma yogi. Where what you work for or what you do is more important than the fruits. A classic example would be Narendra Modi. You look at him when he's fighting elections, he will do rallies, he will go here, he will go there. Once election is over, even if he has won it, he will do his process. Even if he has lost, he will be somewhere opening some train somewhere, he will be doing some work, he'll be meeting somebody. Even if he has won, he will be doing this work, that work. So karma yogi is something which is very, very important. And that is the path our Vedic rishis have taught us. Right? So we now understand the importance of work and how important it is that don't just think that you are doing a 9-to-5 job. Understand that you are that small ray of Surya sitting in the 10th house and trying to illuminate, and all that will be considered finally when your Punya Chakra is drawn. There will be an automation, there will be a software which will run and your Punya Chakra will be drawn. Or shall we say your Punya Chakra will be drawn first and then Brahma will calculate what time, when can he do, and that is the time when you will pop off. The last but not the least is the 12th house. 12th house is the house of moksha, we all know. And the soul needs to be free from all the karmas, which is moksha. Jupiter in the 12th or aspecting the 12th with Graha Drishti is a super blessing. 12th house is the dominant draw in the person's mind at the time of death. See, ideally what we want is not a planet in the 12th house, but a Drishti of Jupiter. Why? Because the planet in the 12th house will give you rebirth. Right? The Drishti of Jupiter is what will help you. Okay. Now, let us understand what is the planet in the 12th house that we are talking about. Okay. If Mangal is in the 12th house, then we will be born in a loka which is called as Bhuloka. Bhuloka is the earth plane, where we are all. That's why Mangal is the Karaka for Bhuloka. Over here, might is right. It doesn't matter how truthful you are, what is right. Might is right. If you have more missiles, more technology, more nuclear bombs, you will be called a superpower. There will be no senses where they say that, you have more PhDs or you have more Vedic schools, that's why you are a superpower. No. Are you a nuclear power? I have got 50 bombs. I have got 150 bombs. I can destroy the whole world. Okay, from tomorrow, you are the superpower. or that club of superpower. Huh? 𝗀𝗏𝗍𝗂 is ruled by Surya. So it's a little higher loka. Huh? So these are all higher lokas. So 𝗀 is your current stagnant. That means, allowed to keep term, like what we call it in engineering as etiquette. Okay, chalo yaar, it's an okay birth, fair enough. You will still be born, but it is not that bad karma where we would put you into the talas. 𝗧𝗏𝗍𝗀, if so over when you go about Surya, 𝗀𝗏𝗍𝗀, then you are getting at the nakshatra levels, then 𝗧𝗏𝗍𝗀, you are going about that cosmic thing. Then Janarloka is associated by Chandra. Tapaloka is associated with Shani. These are all planets in the 12th house. Then Maharloka with Mercury, and finally Satyaloka, which is Jupiter. So these are all, depending on, what is the impact or the planet which is there in the 12th house. Or shall we say, when you overall impact and when we see that where is the birth coming finally. Okay. So I think for today, what we have done is a very, very strong foundation, good 90 minutes of foundation. The next class I'll announce soon. If you're part of my mailing list, etc., you will get the details. Anyways, if you are new and by whatever method, you go to my website or you go to my LinkedIn or any of the accounts, I'll be announcing that probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks we'll have, So we'll be having that session very soon. But in the meanwhile, I want you to sort of think of it, try and understand, how important this particular concept is, right? Your forefathers have been very kind to you to give you a birth. That's why the day we are born because of the 8th house. Our rina of our Pitri rina is something which is very, very important. So what is our first karma? We need to have a child. Because only when we have a child is our lineage sort of going on, right? So that is our first way of activating Pitri rina or reducing the Pitri rina by activating our 5th house, which is our child. The other way, daily way, is doing the Gayatri mantra. The Gayatri mantra is going to clean your 8th house 3 times. Okay, so that is also very important. And then we will talk about more when we meet next time. So what you can do is, I'm sure you will have few more questions. I will be having this recording available on my YouTube channel for the next 48 to 72 hours. In the comment section, you can ask your questions. I'll start answering them. Okay. And wait for my announcement. I'll announce soon in terms of when we'll do the part 2 of this, which is going to be the application of the knowledge we have heard. Right. It is very important for me to have the right process. Till the time you don't understand logic in terms of, imagine if I was doing directly application and I was talking about 12th house, oh, Jupiter is aspecting this, that's why this person is this, oh, this person is having Mangal year, that's why it is this. You'd say, hey, but why are we looking at that? Right? So now we are clear. We have established the logical part of it. We have done the theory part of it. Next class, we'll go to the laboratory. We'll do the application part of it. Till then, take care of yourself. Thank you so much for your time. 𝗪𝗔𝗍𝗂𝗏. See you soon. Bye. See you all. Thank you. 𝗪𝗔𝗍𝗂𝗏.